1. Welcome to Made for More Living.
One small step for man.
With Johnny Jennings.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
The fastest and most exciting hour of news, events, and real estate in Northern California.
And this is a fact that was proved.
Online at madeformorerealty.com.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Get ready. Here we go.
So there is this phrase. I am not the biggest fan of the phrase, but it is so appropriate in today's market. So appropriate because oftentimes sellers are wanting to sell their house for more than what their neighbor sold for last year, but that is just really not the reality. And the phrase is, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered.
Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. So
Yeah.
can you explain what that means?
So pigs, meaning, hey, you know what? You want to eat, you want to have a good amount, but not get greedy, you'll have enough, right? You'll have enough. But if you try to push it the extra little bit, if you get greedy, then that's when you get slaughtered.
I just would not want to be referred to as a pig.
I know, that's why
I just don't think that's a positive.
That's why I don't like it. I think it's a horrible phrase. But I don't know of a different one. So if you're listening and you have a better phrase, please send them my way. But what that has to do with people in today's market is we have on the show today. She was actually one of the top-rated guests all of 2024, so all of last year, and it's Miss Liz Andersen with Reverse Mortgage.
Surprise, surprise.
Who would have thought reverse mortgage was going to be like the barn burner?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm glad. When you sent me that message, I was actually I was at the airport, and I got your voice message, and I was like, wait, what? I need to listen to that again. So I was surprised, but hey, it's educational. That's what I always, like to say. It's all about just educating, re-educating.
It's educational and it's different. Mm-hmm. So people know about, hey, a typical lender or a home inspector. But what most people don't realize, and I think what was surprising about your show, are all the different ways people can use reverse mortgages.
Yes, definitely. Because people are still stuck in, your granddad's reverse mortgage, and it's not that way anymore.
Yeah, let's actually talk about that. So most people have there's this stigma around reverse mortgages. Because you're in this every single day, what are some of the reasons why, like hesitancies that people have around reverse mortgages?
Still, that good old one is, I don't want to do that loan because the bank owns my home.
They feel like they have like a lack of control.
Yeah, I feel like they feel like there's something behind the scenes that they don't know about, or that is tricky, or just I don't trust it. I think it's more of a trust thing because, you have a mortgage. Mm-hmm. Doesn't the bank literally kind of own your home too?
Yep.
So how would you respond to that concern? Oh, I don't want the bank owning my home. What do you tell them? Look at Johnny.
The bank does not own your home. It is like any other debt that you have with the mortgage. At the end, the balance gets paid off, versus right now when you have a traditional loan, you're making payments as it goes along.
Yeah. At
some point, you have to pay that debt off. So on a reverse mortgage, it's in the end. When the home gets sold, that's when the bank gets their money.
So with the traditional home, you have the control. It's your home. You can control who can be there. You can control what the home price is. You can control when it sells. You have control over that property. Same thing with reverse.
Correct. You can sell. If you get a reverse mortgage today and you want to sell 5 years down the line, which I wouldn't recommend, it's a long-term or last loan you should have. You have the same opportunity to do that. You just pay off whatever the reverse mortgage balance is at the time, and you walk away with no penalty and the remaining equity in your home.
And let's say this is the last home you have. What happens after you pass?
So I always recommend that there be a trust in place. Mm-hmm. In the case that you have a trust, then your heirs would be the ones that would decide what they want to do with that home. Most heirs will list it with Johnny.
There you go. Thank you, Liz. Come back anytime.
And after that balance is paid off through the sale, there is no penalty, as I mentioned before. Whatever equity is left over goes to the heirs as a trust would read.
Okay, so if they didn't want to sell it, they would just have to refinance.
Correct. Yeah. into
Okay.
a loan, pay off the reverse mortgage, keep the home. Or in the case where, let's just say, the borrowers got a reverse mortgage at a very young age, and they lived in that home, let's say 30 years, because people are living longer these days. And they used up all of the equity in the home. And let's just make it worst case scenario. It's upside down. At the time that the last person vacated the home, the balance of the loan is higher than the value of the home. So it's essentially a short sale. It's still a good listing for a realtor to take. There is FHA and insurance associated with reverse mortgages, the majority of them. And so in the end, the heirs are not responsible for that loss. FHA mortgage insurance comes in and makes the lender whole and pays that shortage off. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so basically, the number one fear that people have is that I don't have control. The bank has control over my house. And especially when you're wanting to die there, that might be the last place. You never want to leave there. There's so many people. I don't know why, but it just seems like a lot of my interactions lately have been with people who are very, very, they don't want to move. And they are going to die in that home, and they hope they never go into like a care facility. Facility.
Yeah.
And so,
Or how do you handle the emotion of leaving a home to my kids?
Well, okay, so you probably don't want to ask me that, because here's what I tell people, especially right now in where we are with this economy. I was reading an article last week. It was called The Poor Millionaire, and it is that cliche
house.
it's like house rich, cash poor, and people are eating top ramen every day because their home is free and clear, and they want to leave that home to their heirs. What kind of quality of life are you living if you're not using your biggest asset to leverage life in this economy and everything that has gone up? And Social Security doesn't go up
Right. Exactly.
every year. So you can pass on generational wealth through a reverse mortgage. If you want to do a reverse mortgage and you own your home free and clear, and you know what? I'm going to get $300,000 out of this reverse mortgage. I'm going to give, two of my kids $50,000 now. That is their inheritance, and I'm going to live off of the rest.
That's interesting.
I mean, we've seen people do that. People
Yeah.
will do that and be like, you know what? I need to get rid of my payment. I'm going to pass down your inheritance now while I'm still alive. I could see you enjoy it. I could
Yeah,
see you buy
exactly.
a house. I
Love
could
that.
see you do all these things, and I could live a comfortable life.
Yeah.
Like
And once it's all said and done, the kids still have a say in the property, and the parents don't have a payment typically on that.
What do you mean
Yeah.
by that?
Okay.
Explain that.
Okay, so they don't have a principal and interest payment, because the goal with the reverse mortgage is that to not have a principal and interest payment moving forward. Now, they're still responsible for property taxes, homeowners insurance, and if they live in a place that has HOAs, they still have to continue to pay those things. But the whole goal of having a reverse mortgage is zero principal and interest payment.
So oftentimes people want to pay off their property because they don't want to have a monthly payment in retirement. And so now let's say you're 70, 80 years old, and life has taken a different direction, and you need some money. You can go out and get a reverse mortgage, and there's ways you can either get monthly payments, right, or a lump sum.
Correct.
Or can you do both? Or?
So actually, depending on the program that you choose, the way that the funds are dispersed is either monthly payment, you can get a line of credit, or a lump sum, or a combination of all three things within one of the program options. Now, there's another program option that only offers you a lump sum. So there are different programs, different ways, and different payment disbursements that you can choose from. But the most widely used one is actually, you're going to be surprised, the adjustable reverse mortgage, because it gives you the flexibility to choose all three options. And then while you have the reverse mortgage in place, you can change it as things change in life.
So if you need more cash, you can have a larger withdrawal.
Correct.
And then have that monthly stipend. But the point is that what's beautiful about this is that typically if you get like a home equity line of credit, or you have a credit card, or you need some funds, you have to repay that. There's a monthly cost associated with that.
Correct.
With the reverse mortgage, there is not.
Correct.
And actually, when we come back, we're going to be talking about how you can actually buy some homes without having a monthly payment.
So there's a lot of great summer movies out in the theaters, and my kids want to see pretty much every single one of them, but I am a conservative. I am a fiscally conservative, I would say frugal person. So you know what I do? Before we go out into the theaters, I go to Rotten Tomatoes and I check the reviews. I want to make sure that if I'm going to spend all this money on a movie, that it's going to be something I'm going to enjoy. So I check the reviews. And that's what we recommend you do when it comes to hiring or someone to help you sell your home or purchase a home. Go check the reviews. For instance, our friend Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty, he has over 1,000 5-star Google reviews, more than anyone else in our area. So if you're curious about who you're going to trust, do the research, do your investigation, go find out, go read some of these reviews about Johnny Jennings and the amazing job that he and his team do in selling your home with Made for More Realty. In fact, listen to this. They have this program where they're going to offer you at least three cash offers on your home in as-is condition. No showings, no staging, no costly home repairs. 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. Just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
Buying a house, man. There are so many people who want to buy a house, the first-time home buyers, and they're all excited. And then they get that home, and they're like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? I now have to pay this payment next month, and the month after that, and the month after that, for years and years and years. But when you buy a house using a reverse for purchase, it's different, right, Liz?
Correct.
So walk us through, what does that look like if you were to buy a house with a reverse?
So I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible because people, I bring it up all the time and people are like, wait, you can buy a house using a reverse mortgage? Absolutely. So it came into play 16 years ago. It took an act of Congress for that to actually take place. And so I'll make it really simple. Let's say you have a borrower, a client who's looking to purchase a house. The loan amount is based off of the age of the youngest person who's going to live in that home, the current interest rate, and the purchase price. You plug it in and it's going to say, Mr. Joe, your loan amount for this house of $500,000 is we're going to give you $200,000. Okay, that's a loan amount that the bank, that's what their starting balance is going to be. You have to come in with the difference, the $300,000. Mm-hmm. And then you live in this home with no principal and interest payments. So for example, let's say that somebody's selling their house. Mm-hmm. They are going to make, using your example, let's say around $300,000, mm-hmm. and they're going to buy that same $500,000 property, mm-hmm. right? So they're downsizing. Yeah. So now they can go in, put in that $300,000 down,
and then the reverse will cover the difference. And so either you'll have $50,000 left over, or the reverse will just be smaller.
Correct. So
Reverse
I have
balance.
an example.
Let's hear it.
A live one right
Let's
here.
Let's do it. Yeah,
it's perfect. So I had a realtor call me a couple weeks ago, and he says, "Hey, I have a client. He has listed his house. It's selling, and he is approximately 65 years old, I believe. He is going to net $430,000 from his home that we're selling.
Very common.
Mm-hmm. And so he goes, and he already has his eye on the next house, and the purchase price on that house is $460,000. And he goes, he is short, obviously, by $30,000 because he wants to buy it cash and have no payment. Which
is the goal. Everybody wants no payment.
Yeah, right. And he goes, so he's going to go into his asset portfolio with his advisor, and he's going to pull $30,000 out. And then once he buys it,
actually probably pull more than 30, depending on penalties, taxes.
Exactly. So he says, and then once he buys it, then I want you to go in there and do a reverse mortgage so he can take out the $30,000 that he borrowed from his assets, and then he gets his money back. Yep. And I'm all, whoa, wait a minute, hold up. Why wouldn't you just do a reverse for purchase for him to buy the house instead of doing 2 separate transactions? So he goes, wait a minute, talk to me about that. So I said, here's what you need to know. Using the reverse for purchase, Instead of him touching money from any investments, which would trigger a taxable event,
Sure.
why don't we use, I ran the numbers, and on that $460,000 purchase, he's going to come in with $443,000 from his net proceeds of that $430,000. That's going to be the down payment. The reverse mortgage is going to lend him $136,000.
Wait, so how much is he bringing in?
343.
343. That makes more sense.
Sorry,
okay.
343, and that includes the fees associated with the loan.
So he's coming in with, what is that, $87,000 less?
He's gonna have $87,000 to put away, left over from the net proceeds.
So I'll see you're repaying the $30,000 and I'll raise it to
yes,
87.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want an extra $57,000 to put back into wherever they want for a better return on investment? Have it as a nest egg as an emergency fund, whatever. But he's like, oh.
So what are the taxes though on that reverse money? The money that you said. So he's getting some money for the reverse purchase, right? Oh no, it's saving him. It's saving him the $87,000.
Yeah, it's saving him the $87,000.
So he doesn't. So one, he's not even having to pull the $30,000 plus taxes out. He's saving on taxes. He can put it wherever he wants.
Yeah.
And
he's got $87,000 left over from the net proceeds that he can put away for a rainy day.
I love that. And you can do that. What's great about this is, and you've shared this on the last time you're on the show, you can actually do this with investment properties. So you can buy an investment property with a reverse. It doesn't necessarily have to be owner occupied, correct?
So if you're the reverse mortgage has to be done on the owner occupied home. So let's say you own it free and clear.
Okay.
Right? You are able, let's say your house is worth $1 million and you're able to borrow $400,000.
Okay.
You don't have to own a property in California because that's ridiculous. You're not going to find one yet.
Sure.
But you can buy a second home in Tennessee or Idaho or Oklahoma. Actually, you could probably buy two.
So you
there.
can take that $400,000 and put it down. You can either put it down and finance the rest, or buy it free and clear. As long as it's cash flowing. So that's how you could buy an investment property using reverse funds.
Yeah.
There's so many options here.
Yeah.
And you are in control. It's not the bank is in control. You are in control.
Still your home.
Still your asset.
But are there situations, explain the situations where a reverse mortgage would not work for you?
Liz kind of touched on it. So I actually sent her a client. I always send her the best clients. And I sent her somebody. And so I got this call from this woman. And she's like, I'm really nervous to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? She's like, well, I'm hesitant to even tell you the property address. I'm not going to share any of that. But here's the situation. My mom got a reverse and she died. I'm like, oh no, that's horrible. When did this happen? Like 5 years ago. Yes. And she hasn't reported the death to the reverse mortgage company. Correct. So she's been living there technically illegally for years. And so if she wants that, and the problem is she wants the home. In order for her to get that home, I don't even know what she would have to do, but in order for that to have happened correctly, there should have been a trust in place.
And there's no trust.
And so then when mom had passed, if there had been a trust, everything would have been fine. But because
she would be able to do something with the home, but now she's not going to be able to because she can't afford it. And as soon as they find out that she's been living there for 5 years without making a payment, 30 days, you're out.
Yeah.
Like you have not stayed with the guidelines of what the heirs are supposed to do. Contact the lender, let them know what's going on. Typically they have a whole year, depending on what the market's doing, to get rid of that home. But in this situation, I told her, I said, you need to be prepared if and when that time comes, that as soon as the lender finds out that mom is gone, you're out. You're not going to have a whole lot of notice.
And so that house is going to have to go through, the estate's going to have to go through probate. And now there's 5 years of potentially fees and fines that need to get paid. And so to answer your question, Matt, as long as it's done correctly, to my understanding, there really isn't a downside to it. Unless
here's what I tell the downside.
Okay,
don't tell people, here's the downside. When people say, okay, why shouldn't I do a reverse mortgage? I'm like, it's not that you shouldn't. It's if it fits your need. If you're going to move in 3 years out of the home that you're doing a reverse mortgage on, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, find a different option, because I'm going to be the first one to tell you, it is not a cheap loan. It is costly, and if you spread it out over 20 years life expectancy, it makes more financial sense to do it. Mm-hmm. But if you're like, just, we're just going to do this for 3-5 years, look at something else. And then the other thing is, if your legacy is to leave your home, your biggest asset, to your kids, then this is not the loan for you. Because if you do it, the balance gets bigger over time. Equity of the home gets smaller over time. So the longer the parents live in the home, the less equity there's going to be for an inheritance for your kids. So if you're banking on the home being the sole inheritance for your kids, and you'd rather let them live a better life when you're gone than you live a better life now, you have to make that decision on your own.
But it is a good argument of whether or not maybe your kids need the money right now. Maybe they're on the verge of some troubling, challenging times, or you want to enjoy the money with them, whether it's vacations or upgrades to something, and you want to enjoy that with them.
What if you have like debt, or what if you need like in-house care, right? Now you're putting a strain on the family to pay for these services.
Good point.
When you're sitting on a mountain of equity that you can't monetize.
That's a good point.
So let's talk about what is actually happening in the industry right now. You talk about first-time home buyers, right? They want to buy a home. Yeah. I read an article where it is becoming harder and harder for younger generations to save up for that down payment.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Don't get me started, okay?
Well, but let's think about it, because I have seen clients do this and say, you know what? We want to do a reverse mortgage. We want to help our grandkids or our kids get into a home now while we can still enjoy that home with them.
Love it. So let's talk about that when we come back from the break. We're going to leave them hanging.
You got it.
Back after this.
So my family and I, each night, we take a stroll through the neighborhood, my wife and my 3 kiddos. And recently we've noticed that there are 2 homes that have been on the market with signs in the yard for quite a while now. And we're just curious, why aren't these homes selling? We look up their information and what they're selling for, and we figured it out. It's probably because they're not working with Johnny Jennings and Made for More Realty. Because when you work with his team, homes on average sell faster and for more money than everyone else in our area. So if you're curious how Johnny Jennings and his amazing team at Made for More Realty can help you sell your home or purchase a home, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Find out how you can get at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. So again, work with the best. Johnny Jennings, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty, Made for More Realty, and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So Liz, how old or what year was it when you bought your first house? What year?
It was in 2005.
2005. Do you know how much your first house purchase was?
It was overinflated.
It was too much. It was too much.
It was I think it was, I want to say it was like 600,000. Yeah.
600. Okay. Yeah. First house Valor and I bought, it was $185,000, right? In good old Bakersfield. And then,
okay, that's why.
And then, but I was asking my dad this question the other day, and I was like, "How much was that house you bought in Kalinga?" And he said, and so my mom's probably listening. My mom's going to fact check us all, so wait for that update. But he said $58,500. And I'm like, okay, wow, that's not as much as homes are going. That house is worth today. What was your income though, Dad? Like, what was your annual income? And he said, probably around $18,000. Like, okay, so $18,000, you bought a $58,000 house. Let's add some zeros on that. Let's say you were making $180,000, and the house is worth $580,000. Okay, that makes more sense. But then I was like, wait, Pops, didn't Mom start working around then? And he's like, yeah, she got a job, and I was actually irritated because she was making more money than me, even though I've been working longer because they were both teachers. I was like, how much was Mama making? And he said, about $19,000. Okay, so between the two of you, you guys were making around $37,000 a year, and you bought a house worth $58,000, right? $58,500.
What year was this? Do you know?
1984, I believe. And so, again, my mom will fact check us all on this, but if you add some zeros, just to put it in context,
for sure.
$580,000 house with a household income of $370,000. I don't know very many people with that type of an income buying a $580,000 house in Roseville. And so the amount of money people were generating versus the cost of a home was very different, even with a 15% interest rate, than it is today. But that's why a lot of grandparents are now saying, hey, you know what, let me help out my kids. Let me help out my grandkids and buy a house. And they're using a reverse to do that.
Yeah. So we've seen this happen a couple of times where they say, you know what, kids want to buy a house, grandkids want to buy a house. Instead of creating some other kind of monthly obligation, let's do a reverse mortgage because we're going to utilize those funds and we're going to gift each grandkid $20,000 for closing costs. Sometimes I've seen it as high up as $50,000.
Come on, Grandpa, you listening to this?
We're passing down your inheritance while we're still here so we can enjoy it with you, watch what you do with it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't create that monthly obligation of the grandparents having to have a monthly payment for a loan that they're doing.
There's no strain.
No, there isn't. And they get to enjoy life with their kids, with their grandkids, before they're gone. So we have seen those situations happen more than once. And it's hard right now. I can't imagine being a millennial and, working on TikTok and trying to buy a house because I don't know that's working in this day and age.
Yeah, if you qualify for reverse, you're probably not on OnlyFans.
So speaking of that, what are there age requirements for a reverse mortgage?
So yes, traditional reverse mortgage, which is the one that's often used the most, at least one person that's going to be on the loan has to be 62 years old. Now, if they have a spouse, they can be younger than. But then there are programs that came on the market, God, I'd say started coming to the market 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they keep coming on the market. Those go down to age 55. So
rather than 62, it could go down to 55?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's programs, and those are the non-FHA reverse mortgages. So we consider those like the conventional reverse mortgages that are out in the industry now. So there's a lot of different reverse mortgages that you can choose from.
So what the younger you get,
the less money you get.
The less money you get, is there a higher, I want to say interest rate, but
yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Because you can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, they're not going to be here, we're going to give you this much money. You're this young. Your life expectancy is 45 years old.
We're going to
charge you a low interest rate. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't be 35 and get in a reverse. So.
Well, if you're Hugh Hefner.
There you go.
And you marry one of your bunnies.
There's options.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance.
LTV is going to be really low, yeah.
But another thing that we were talking about is credit card debt is at an all-time high. And a lot of people are they're just it feels like they've been painted into a corner. They're running out of options because they may have a mortgage rate that's in the high 2s, low 3s.
Yeah.
And they don't want to give that up, but they're like, man, if I refinance, I can pay down my credit card debt, and that would really help me out. Yeah. But there's an answer for that with reverse mortgages.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I call it the reverse mortgage for the times. So it's a reverse mortgage second. So a lot of people are doing HELOCs right now. You talk to any loan officer that works at a bank.
JJ Maxx talking about them all the time. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, that's what people are looking for these days because, like you said, it's not just seniors with all-time credit card debt. It's the nation as a whole. So I have an example where I have a client. He lives in Palm Springs, and he went to go get traditional loan options from a traditional loan officer. And after the loan officer spoke to him and ran some numbers on a traditional finance to get cash out to pay off those credit cards, he said, you know what, I'm going to refer you to Liz, talk to her, she's got some options, and then come back to me and let me know what you think. You can decide whatever you want to do. So after having a conversation about his finances and what his overall financial goals were, I approached him with this option of the reverse mortgage second. So His concern was losing that low interest rate. It was under 3%.
Wow.
Right?
It's like free money at that point.
And that's how we all feel, I think. Well, I'm starting to see houses pop up, so maybe not more on the market. But his payment was $1,200.
Wow.
And he had a really low first mortgage balance. And so he liked the idea of keeping that first mortgage in place. He didn't have to touch that low interest rate, and his payment would remain the same, $1,200. We proceeded with the reverse mortgage. So we got to get a full appraisal. Appraisal came back, and by the way, this is on a condo.
In Palm Springs,
yeah,
okay.
You're gonna die when so the value of that condo came back at $718,000.
Well, there you go.
I was like, what? Yeah, this is Palm Springs. So $718,000. Available funds from the reverse mortgage second was $143,000. Okay.
Which, just so we're clear, he does not have to make a payment on that. That's
Correct.
Not like a monthly
Yeah,
thing.
it's not like a HELOC where you have to make a payment. On a reverse mortgage second, you do not have to make a payment. Okay.
Wow, so he's getting $143,000, and there's no taxes on this, right? Because it's
Correct.
technically debt.
Proceeds. It's loan proceeds.
Yep.
So his total monthly outgoing debt payment for credit cards, $2,600
A month?
a month.
Man.
Okay. So his total payoffs to eliminate that monthly credit card debt was, and we have to pay off the solar because it's a lien on the property. So he's fine with that because it's another $300 payment that he's making. So his total payoffs for all of that debt, getting rid of all that debt, $79,000.
Nice.
Okay. This leaves him with an additional $55K.
Just sitting in a bank account for him to use whatever.
Whenever he wants. And please tell me that you're ripping up those credit cards.
Yes, please don't. Hey, look, I got all this cash. Give me some more credit cards.
Yeah. And so what I told, he was like, whoa, wait, what? You can do what? So he's like, I have a $2,600 monthly cash flow swing to my benefit.
Well, that's $2,600 in credit card debt. You add the $300 in solar. That's almost $3,000 a month that he's saving.
The $2,600 included the solar.
Oh, okay, included that. Okay,
include the solar. So he's got $2,600 cash flow because we're getting rid of all that debt, and he's got $55,000 sitting in the bank. And this is what I told him that you could do later. Okay, I said if we see the market recover a little bit, where maybe we start seeing appreciation again, and we see rates come down in the future, you can combine that reverse mortgage second and your first mortgage into a traditional reverse mortgage and get rid of the $1,200 a month
that he's
paying. Hopefully he gets rid of those credit cards and he won't need to do that.
Yeah.
But they don't have any heirs. So they're like, they're in a place where they're like, that's a really good idea if we need to do it in the future and get rid of that $1,200 a month payment on top of what we've already saved.
Wow. And so, I mean, just in year one, if it's $2,600, he's saving, what is that, nearly $30,000 just year one, just in credit card payments.
Yes.
Wow. As long as he doesn't get more credit card debt.
Yeah.
So,
and we talked about this in the past. Is what else can you use a reverse mortgage second for? We talked about purchasing a second home or an investment property, adding an ADU on your property.
Oh, there you go. ADU, an income generator, or to have.
Exactly. And it raises the value of your property.
Yep.
Passing on generational wealth, like I mentioned before. I just said paying off high interest debt.
Monthly income. You can generate monthly income with it,
No,
right?
not on that one because the second doesn't offer that one.
Well, not on the second, but just another thing you can use a reverse for is like, hey, I need some more money. There's too much there's not enough money at the end of the month.
Correct.
Well, maybe, get a reverse mortgage. Just you're not taking a big lump sum, but you're just getting little bite-sized chunks every month to help you with whatever.
Yeah. Supplementing a loss from a spouse because you lose one Social Security when somebody passes. So then they're only left with one source of income. So being able to supplement your income for that loss of Social Security from the spouse is a big one. Let's not get started about high fire insurance. Oh,
my goodness. You are 100% right. Yes, there are so many people who bought houses. They thought they were going to die there. They loved the home. Home fire insurance was an afterthought, and now it is crippling them.
It is.
That is a really good point.
Yeah.
So Liz, what's the best way for somebody to reach out to you? If they're like, oh my gosh, I love Liz. She's got all these great options.
Yes.
I'd like to learn more.
Yes. Best way to reach out to me is via my phone, and it's 916-223-8869. Or you can also email me at liz.andersen. Andersen is spelled Andersen at A as in Apple, P as in Paul, mortgage.com.
And if you are like, hey, that was a lot of letters, I don't remember the numbers, I can't, I'm driving, I'm not going to remember all this, just go to madeformorerealty.com, madeformorerealty.com, and we will get you connected with Liz. Liz, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was a pleasure as always.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor.
So there's a lot of great summer movies out in the theaters, and my kids want to see pretty much every single one of them, but I am a conservative. I am a fiscally conservative, I would say frugal person. So you know what I do? Before we go out into the theaters, I go to Rotten Tomatoes and I check the reviews. I want to make sure that if I'm going to spend all this money on a movie, that it's going to be something I'm going to enjoy. So I check the reviews. And that's what we recommend you do when it comes to hiring or someone to help you sell your home or purchase a home. Go check the reviews. For instance, our friend Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty, he has over 1,000 five-star Google reviews, more than anyone else in our area. So if you're curious about who you're going to trust, do the research, do your investigation, go find out, go read some of these reviews about Johnny Jennings and the amazing job that he and his team do in selling your home with Made for More Realty. In fact, listen to this. They have this program where they're going to offer you at least three cash offers on your home in as-is condition. No showings, no staging, no costly home repairs. 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. Just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
One of the things I really enjoy about my job, and honestly it can be a point of frustration, is the people. Like, the people are so interesting. So let me walk you through.
You didn't know that when you got into real estate, you'd have to be a people person.
I did not even cross my mind.
Would you say that, though? Like, if someone is thinking about getting into real estate, would you tell them, well, you have to be a people person? Do you think that's a requirement of the job?
I think in order to be in real estate, you have to be able to understand people. Like, you have to be able to communicate effectively with different personality types. And I don't think that is necessarily like a realtor, specific thing. That I would argue is a sales specific thing.
Yeah. Do you think you have to be an outgoing person, or at least be able to be an outgoing person?
Not necessarily. No. So if you're not as outgoing, then typically those people tend to gravitate towards investors or more commercial real estate.
Yeah. Or just some people appreciate, there's a lot of people that they think I'm crazy. They're like, oh, I cannot be around Matt, especially my wife.
You're pretty high energy.
Right. And so I wouldn't, there's a lot of people would not appreciate my style, so there's different styles of realtors for different types of people.
There are cookie cutter, templated, this is, you have the classic realtor personality. But for example, I'm not your typical classical realtor, and yet Valerie and I sell. Valerie's not either, by the way. Yeah. And we've been making a living at this for over a decade.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
But when I just was talking to Valerie, I was driving home one night. I was like, Val, you'll never guess this appointment I went on. And then I'm driving home Saturday morning from a different appointment. Like, Val, you'll never guess what appointment I just went on. She's like, oh my gosh, Johnny, do you realize how different those two people groups were? I was like, you're right. And so what happened was, appointment 1, it was 2 ladies. They're getting married, and they bought a house, and they want to remodel the house, and they're going to run a retreat through the house for mother something or other, right? And so they're all about but natural earth, charging the crystals type of a thing. And then I go on an appointment on Saturday, and they're like, oh, and by the way, they're moving because they want to move to Canada because Trump is president. And they said they weren't going to ask me who I voted for, but if they knew I voted for Trump, they 100%.
This is still couple number 1?
This is couple number 1.
Okay.
And so they said.
So they're a gay couple.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they said that if they that if they knew I voted for Trump, absolutely they would not work with me, right? And so that's couple number one. Literally on Friday.
So you went on the appointment. You kept your MAGA hat in the car.
Well, I'm pretty political. Like I'm hush hush.
Apolitical,
I'm
right?
Very apolitical on the show, and with clients because they don't. No, you're gonna piss off somebody.
Right, it's true.
I'm very. I can piss people off without telling them my political affiliation. Like I don't need help with it. So that was. Did
they ask you?
They asked, but then I didn't. They asked without asking, but then I just changed the subject. Moving on.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But that was Friday. And then Saturday, I'm sitting in a guy's house, and old Marine, and he wrote a book, and he signed the book, and he hands it to me and he goes, "This is for you. If you're not a conservative, I can't work with you."
Really?
And it was like 10 reasons, like name 10 activities you can do where the government's not taxing you in some shape or form. And he's
he tested you on that.
And he's like, and so
hold on, let me bring up ChatGPT.
So quick. Person number one is like really into like anti-Trump. Person number two is really pro-Trump. Person number one is really like anti or pro. Like spirituality, moon crystals, things like that. And person number two is very much like your Orthodox type of a Christian. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my life. But that's not atypical.
That's a big win though. Were you able to successfully sign listing agreements with both of them?
So the situation with both of them is I don't know if it makes sense for them to move right now. And so short answer is no. But both of them said, Johnny, you're my realtor.
Oh, that's cool.
If we
that's a big win that you're able to appeal to all different shapes, sizes, and colors of people on this planet.
All different types. Yeah. Wow. But I just thought that was just a funny. Like it wasn't like 6 months apart. It was like
the same
Friday,
day.
Saturday, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wild.
You know what you're getting into when you walk into those homes?
No.
You have any idea? No.
So there's telltale signs based on people's art, based on how they talk, things that they say, because it is their home, so naturally they should feel more comfortable, and it's decorated the way they want it to be decorated. And so over the years, there's certain things I'm like, oh. So there were certain things in both those houses where I was like, I kind of know where you stand on this, so I'm not going to make those jokes.
Yeah, I think when you're in sales, whether you agree or disagree, or you think the person across from the table for you is a nut job and crazy, you have to have some level of empathy and try to find ways that you agree with the person, or at least find some commonalities where you can understand them a little bit more.
You don't have to agree, but you have to understand.
Yeah.
Look at it through their perspective. And so one of the biggest things, like if somebody's looking to get into real estate or even just sales in general, one of the things that has helped me out more times than I can count is I just agree with them. Absolutely. I agree with you. I'm with you. Totally get it. Regardless of, hey, I really, and then apologizing. I apologize. It's my fault. And
yes. Be quick to apologize for sure.
So just whether you're
that works in marriage too.
Whether you're wrong or not, just agreeing with them, and it just diffuses the situation. Because as soon as you start fighting back, they dig in their heels, and it just escalates.
I go with, I hear you. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Instead of saying I agree, I don't say
I agree. None of those.
That's just what you said.
I'm with you.
Oh, okay.
I'm with you.
I thought you said, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That makes sense. That's a good one. And again, it's not trying to be salesy or disingenuous. It's just there's no value in me picking a fight right now.
Correct. Right.
You're not going to hear anything I say until we establish some form of an agreement, and then we can move forward with a more productive conversation.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's good strategy. I appreciate that.
But I
hear what you're saying, Johnny.
You hear what I'm saying? You get it? You with me?
Makes sense to me.
Yep. There we go. Great. Now we're going to be doing this to each other for the rest of the show's life. But speaking of nothing, actually, just great properties.
That's a good one. Speaking of nothing,
I agree. 3862 Mission Ave in Carmichael. This is
3862 Mission Avenue in Carmichael.
So everybody loves Carmichael.
Where's Mission Avenue in Carmichael? Is that off of Watt Avenue?
Here, let me pull it up.
I'm just trying to picture the area because I know Carmichael. I used to live in Carmichael off of El Camino Avenue. I love Carmichael.
So this is.
Did you know like 95608 is one of the top zip codes in our area? Did you know that?
Top in terms of
just those homes I forget what the statistic is because it's been a long time since I lived in Carmichael, but Vladi Divac's lived in Carmichael. You've got a lot of Joyce Rayleigh's, one of the founders of Rayleigh's, lived in Carmichael. A lot of people like that area, especially along the river. There's a lot of great neighborhoods in Carmichael. I loved living in Carmichael.
It's kind of off Auburn Boulevard and Walnut.
Walnut. Okay, sure. Yeah, okay. Okay, so, Mission Avenue. Sure, I know where you're talking about now.
Mission Avenue, great neighborhood, corner lot, and this house has two-car garages. So there's one that's attached to the building. So
garage.
4-car garage total. So there's one that's attached to the home, and there's a detached 2-car garage. It could be a shop, man cave, turn it into ADU. It has a pool, has an expansive covered patio. The only thing that the house doesn't have is it just really hasn't been updated over the years. So it's considered like a blank slate, but the bones of the house, the things that you cannot change, they're already there.
So how many square feet and how many bedrooms and baths?
Yeah, so 4 bedrooms, 3 baths.
4 bedrooms, 3 baths. Okay.
Yeah, 1970 square feet, so just shy of 2,000 square feet.
1970, and it's a 4-bedroom.
And it's on a 1/4-acre lot. Like, it's a big lot.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, that one's listed right now for $649,500, so $650,000.
It's on Mission Avenue. So what year was it built?
Oh,
because you say it hasn't been upgraded. Would you say it hasn't been upgraded since its construction?
Yeah, I would not say. I mean, there's been updates, but like the kitchen and everything is pretty similar to what it looked like when it was constructed. And I'm looking at the year built, 1960.
So you're talking about 1960s kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it will need some upgrades.
It's got that
then.
tile. It's got the wood, the 60s type wood cabinets.
Right. But other than that, it's got good bones and no major repairs, would you say?
No. And the house right next to it sold for $725,000.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. And so
I'm telling you again,
$650,000.
Carmichael is a great zip code. It's a great area. I love Carmichael.
And if you buy this house, you put in some flooring, put in some cabinets, do the kitchen and bathroom. Let's say you spend $50,000 on it all, maybe $60,000. You're still money ahead, and you have the 2-car garage, which the other property did not have, and you got this beautiful covered patio. Like Anyways, I think the right buyer is going to come along and scoop this one up.
Yeah, and it's got a pool.
Beautiful pool, and a spa, and it's a built-in spa. It's just stunning. But here's one. This is a unique home. So every now and then I walk into a home, I'm like, that's different.
Is unique a friendly way to put it?
I'm definitely not being mean. I'm like,
okay.
There's so much potential.
So
to this home
tell us about it.
Because I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Let me just tell you this: 3 bedrooms.
First, where is it?
It's in Citrus Heights.
Where in Citrus Heights?
6604 Chalice Court in Citrus Heights.
Chalice Court. Okay.
Yeah, you like driving up to it, you're going to be like, what the heck? What is this $1 million property doing? This does not.
It's a $1 million home in Citrus Heights?
Yes. Well, yeah, that's the other thing too. And you're like, this does not make sense. But it backs up to this green belt. It is stunning. There's other big homes in this like little semi-gated community. Like, again, very, very unique situation. But guess how, so it's 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Guess how many square feet it has?
2,100 square feet.
Sounds about right? 3,713. This is almost a 4,000 square foot home. And it's 3 bedrooms and 3 baths. And
there definitely had to be additions to it.
No, it was how it was constructed. And so what happened? So the people that lived there originally, the owner, she had a dance studio, and the dance studio was built upstairs over the garage, and it's huge. It's like a banquet hall, and there's wood floors, and there are like sinks, and you could easily fit 100 people upstairs. It's huge. And what they use it for, and so what the owner wants to use it for is, he originally intended, hey, let me make some more additional bedrooms up there, throw another bathroom up there, and then he'd still have like a large game room. So he could easily turn this into like a 6-7 bedroom house.
Oh, wow.
Right? And have like tons of space. And the garage is super cool underneath because it's like a 3-ish car garage, but you can pull through one of the bays into another area. And so
interesting.
Like
wow. Interesting property. Very unique. Does it have a pool or no pool?
No pool, but it is so quiet out there, and it is so pretty, like so many, like just lined with oak trees.
Sure, I'm looking at it now. I know where that's at, right near the Greenbelt. Yeah.
It is like it's a rare find. Like this, I'm trying to look at the the square footage of the room. So the room is like
it's near San Juan and Greenback. It's near San Juan and Greenback.
The room is like that ballroom is almost 37.
So what do you do with a room like
by
that?
33 square feet.
So I purchased this home. What am I supposed to do with that room like that?
You could
a game room, a theater.
You could build additional bedrooms, throw in another bathroom up there because it's already plumbed.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
And so you could easily throw 3 bedrooms up there, no issue whatsoever.
Oh my goodness!
You know,
that's what's the address again?
It is 6604 Chalice Court in Citrus Heights.
That's quite a unique property.
Yeah, so if somebody was looking to maybe want to pad split this thing, they might be able to pad split it, like in terms of like increasing the bedroom and bathroom count and renting it out. You could have a dance studio. You could have an event center. You could do weddings on this property, turn it into a wedding venue. Like there's tons of parking.
Oh, it's got great curb appeal. The fountain in the front. You know, lots, and it's more than just the there's like a drive. There's what do you call that? Like a driveway. It's
like a circle.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and then the last property. Again, I don't want to talk too much about the properties, but this one I'm surprised it has not flown off the market. Like it has 117 saves on Zillow. Like just a lot of interest. Probably thousands of views across Zillow and Homes.com. It's been on the market about 30 days. But what's special about this property is it has an ADU in the back, like an ADU type property. Again, it was built decades ago, and so it's not technically permitted, but it's just a really cool property. Tons of potential, well maintained. It's beautiful. This one is technically 3 bedrooms, 2 baths for $499.
Wow. Where's that at?
It's on 1325 Glenwood Road in Sacramento.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
if folks want to find more information and they missed the address and they want to look at some pictures or maybe go do a showing?
In person or virtual, go to madeformorerealty.com. It's madeformorerealty.com. We're happy to show it to you.